Continues, it is still TV3Newday. It's time to talk serious matters. And of course, joining me in the studios this morning, I have Kamaldeen Abdullah. He's the Deputy Director of Communications for the NPP. Good morning.
Good morning.
I was hoping you'd be rocking a jersey or something, but all my three guests this morning are not rocking any jersey.
But Bella, with the spirit goes on, and we have that support. We have no option than to, render our unfettered support to the Black Stars.
You have hope?
Of course, highly.
Oh, you still have high hopes?
Look.
Hold on with that. You hold on.
Like it or dislike it, we are Ghanaians and will continue to be Ghanaians.
Okay.
And in fact, we believe in holding Ghana in high esteem.
I see.
I have so much hope in my country. I have a belief that, yes, you failed yesterday doesn't mean you would not succeed tomorrow. And today,
we will win.
The so-called, in quotes, Super Eagles. I mean, not to dent the image of Nigeria, though, but the so-called Super Eagles, we will give them a good run for their money.
Let's see how that goes then.
We will make sure that that opportunity presented to us to appear in Qatar 2022
it will happen.
Will be held and will be grabbed. And of course, will serve Ghana better and make us joyous today.
Okay.
I know we're going to win.
Italy is out of the World Cup, by the way.
Let me wish my brother well. The sports minister.
Okay.
Mustafa, wherever he is this morning, I want to wish him well.
I see.
We have been praying for him to succeed, and I know he's going to succeed.
All right. Also in the studio is lawyer Kwame Janswa. He's the chairman of the oil and gas sector, AGI. Good morning.
Morning, Bella. How are you?
I'm good, thank you very much. How about you?
I'm very well. I've woken up this morning and I'm breathing. So
yeah. Do you also have high hopes?
It's not a war, it's a battle.
It's a battle?
Yeah, it's not a war, it's a battle.
Okay.
Matches between Ghana and Nigeria are like hearts and kotoko. It's a battle. So whoever wins that battle, fine enough. Probably it will be David and Goliath.
Who will be David in this case?
Ghana will be David, Nigeria will be Goliath.
Oh, I see. But we'll still succeed.
Yeah, we can slay them. 1-0.
1-0?
Yeah.
Oh, you don't want to add. Let's break this one goal project jinx.
You see, the thing is that in cases like this, everybody puts their elbow to the wheel. Everybody fights for every little bit of the turf. So it's not going to be an easy one. Kumasi, I just came from Kumasi last night. They were testing all the floodlights and making sure that everything was in check. So let's see.
It should go well, eh?
Yeah.
Also, lawyer Abraham Amaliba, he is the head of the legal team of the NDC. He also joins us this morning. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. Good morning.
You're not smiling. Should we be worried about what you're thinking about the Black Stars?
Well,
he smiles.
The man has never
smiled. No, he smiles.
Oh, okay.
Well, I think that the country is so polarized, and this is the only opportunity we have when the Black Star wins. Because the Black Star is like the unifying factor, I am of the view that as Ghanaians, we need to throw our support to the Black Stars. The tension in the country is so high. The economic conditions, the political polarization is so sharp that we will need something to cool the temperature down. And that's the Black Stars.
It's the Black Stars.
So because of that, my heart goes for the Black Stars.
It's beating a
Bella, point of order. My counsel, for nothing at all, let's take politics out of this. At least with this one, we are all united. Wait, I'm coming. Let's take the country is hard. Let's at least for this one, let's all put our heads together. Let's put the politics aside for this one.
But the country is
hard. It is hard, but let's get comfort in the fact that let's get comfort in the fact that we are all going to play a match and we will win together.
Yes.
The politics will come to that one.
Let me quickly add this one. This is a subtle reprimand.
Okay.
It's a subtle reprimand. And I hope my brother Amalba will take it in good faith. And of course, we all come on board as Ghanaians and not politicians when it comes to football.
Okay.
Merci.
Let's listen to a former youth and sports minister from the NDC, Elvis Afriye Ankara, on what he has to say about the Black Stars and their performance later tonight.
As a Ghanaian, I just pray and hope that the preparations will be up to scratch, because it's all about preparations. It's, believe me, they said genius is what? 99% perspiration, 1% inspiration. So all these, and I follow sports, a lot, both football and boxing. Boxing is my first sport anyway. And I read biographies about boxers and all that. If you don't put in the work, you won't get the results. Yeah. Put in the work. You must work. In order to rekindle that atmosphere and that love, I think the build-up has to start early and be sustained over time so that the nation will be sufficiently mobilized. There's something about mobilizing a country and getting supporters onto a team. It can create paralysis even in the opponents. When they get to the field, of course, they are professionals and all that, but it's not for nothing that statistically, if you watch football globally, teams do well at home.
Statistically, globally, teams do well at home, so it's likely that we will score. And by the way, he's the director of elections for the NDC, but also served as Minister for Youth and Sports. So quick one, predictions before we even go into our main discussion for today. Come on. Well, you said what, 1-0?
No,
it was lawyer Kwame.
I am foreseeing 3 goals in the match.
Hey.
And
see how council
yes, I am foreseeing 3 goals in the match.
Okay.
And obviously 2 will come to our credit.
Okay.
And 1 may come from the Nigerian side.
Okay.
And I'm saying that, listen to me, I said 2 will come.
Will.
To our credit. But 1 may.
So we could even get the extra one.
I'm choosing my words, but we could even get the extra one. Thank you.
Or we could.
So, but I see a 2-1 game at the end of the day.
Okay.
That's my prediction.
Well,
against
Nigeria. Like, you are saying what, 1-0 against?
It's a battle. When you fight a battle like Ukraine and Russia are fighting, it's a battle on the turf. It's going to be tough.
Yeah.
I see 1-0.
1-0.
Yes.
But I love his mindset. I love his mindset.
In favor of Ghana. You love it?
Yeah.
Don't you love Lawyer Abraham Maliber's mindset too?
Oh no, he might have changed it, so maybe let's
see what he has to say.
The initial position was
bad. Have you ever seen him change it?
Predictions.
When I publicly predict a score line, it ends up backfiring. So I won't predict.
Okay. Oh, you mean with everything, only football?
Yes, if I publicly predict a score line.
A score line.
Have you heard of the story, the Nigerian story?
Let him land.
What's your problem? What's your problem? Why can't you be decorous for a while? Why are you so disruptive?
What am I saying?
Easy,
guys. I told you. What did I tell you before we sat?
Easy. He's passionate about the Black Stars.
Stop that.
He's passionate.
Stop it. We are not here to joke. This is not
a
kids program. The point is that
allow him.
I have my heart with the Black Stars, but because of that jinx, where if I publicly predict they end up losing, I want to stay away. But my heart is still with them.
It's still with the Black Stars. So you're just being safe. In case we lose, you won't be heartbroken too much.
Well, that is also, you could also say that. But my main point is when I publicly declare my score line,
it backfires. Okay.
I was listening to a story that when President Buhari calls the Nigerian team, each time he places a call to them to wish them what they lose.
They lose,
so they were praying that he shouldn't call them at all.
But apparently...
his story reminds me of that story.
Why is not President Buhari?
It's my prayer for him to call them so that at least Ghana will be celebrated.
Anyway, let's go to our main discussion for this morning. And finally, we've heard from the Finance Minister addressing some measures that will be implemented by government in order to bring the economy back on track. I mean, the minister himself had said it earlier that the economy was not doing too well, and that is why they were pushing for the e-levy, which they had told us earlier was going to help bring the economy back. But now, looking at what's happening all around the world, fuel prices going up, the cedi depreciating by some 15% and more, there was a need for governments to put in some measures. And so yesterday, he announced a 4-fold measure. 3 of them would be some form of expenditure cut. And the fourth one would be a way of injecting some amount of money into the economy just to shore up the economy a bit. Let's take a look at what he had to say yesterday. We'll hear from the minority who are saying that based on the measures that the finance minister announced yesterday, he's clearly far away from the real situation on the ground and does not understand how Ghanaians are suffering. Is that true or not? Take a listen.
Government of Ghana is to conclude external financing arrangement of up to $2 billion in the next 2 to 6 weeks in line with approved external financing for 2022 and for liability management and to manage the slide of the city. MOF, Ministry of Finance, will also work with the Central Bank to review the foreign exchange retention policy in line with approved external financing for 2022 and for liability management. Additionally, the following measures will be implemented over the medium term: wean off public tertiary institutions from government payroll and provide them with a fixed amount block grant instead. Pursue reforms to address structural challenges in public financial management, including procurement and commitment control, payroll management, and human resource management. Returning to Parliament for e-levy, it's already there, so we're just going to go and continue with the discussion, and God willing, get it passed. I mean, it is in the parliamentary system. So I pray. Parliament rises on April 4th or 5th, maybe, and so we've got some critical, maybe 14 or 15 days to make it happen. And I think after these town hall meetings and understanding what the Ghanaian people want, we should be able to do that.
Our immediate response to the Honorable Minister of Finance is to state emphatically and unequivocally that he's lost touch with reality. He is not in tune with the state of the Ghanaian economy. Our economy today is one that reflects nothing less than a cost of living crisis and a cost of doing business crisis. If you had an expenditure approval of 145 billion, we expect that you tell us that I want to cut 45 billion out of the 145, and we know that this is your commitment. 20% of this, 10% of that, we are still not certain how much expenditure cut he intends to undertake. More importantly, he's announced a number of revenue measures, and there's always effort and attempt to blame the minority on the unpopular e-levy tax, a tax which only manifests a money tax and a lazy tax and a money movement tax. We state again strongly that we will not support e-levy in whatever form and in whatever character he brings it. But let it not be repeated that the minority did not support government in its revenue measures. We did. Only in respect of e-levy that we said that procedurally they were wrong. They should not rush it through a motion as an urgent motion. Thankfully, we have been vindicated. I heard him say that he took a trip to Ho, he took a trip to Wa, to Tamale and Takoradi. Could he have done that if the minority irresponsibly had supported him to do the e-levy and the certificate of urgency? He should be thankful to.
All right, so earlier you heard from the Finance Minister, Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta, and also just gone by is the minority leader in Parliament, Honorable Haruna Idrisu, who says that clearly the Finance Minister is far from the reality on the ground. In fact, far away from a debt-distressed country. And so these measures that he has mentioned will do barely anything to show up the economy. Kamal, I'll start off with you because those are the concerns, not just by the minority, but by some Ghanaians as well. And they're asking that we've been waiting for your finance ministers to speak, or for our finance ministers to speak, to tell us exactly what he's doing to cushion Ghanaians in this time of distress. And this is the best you could do?
Well, thank you very much, Bella. And let me say a very good morning to the people of Batangile. When I say Batangile, I'm referring to Nantong constituency, wherever they are. I want to say good morning to them. And Bella, in fact, as the saying goes, when you're carrying a load, the burden of that load is felt by you and you. when Ghanaians go to the polls to give their mandate to a government or to a political party to lead, it symbolizes that political party or that administration giving a load to carry. Okay? And in reality, the books of the nation, in reality, what is available to manage the affairs of the nation will be in the hands of such people, in this case, the government of the day. Okay? So that you are the one who would be able to tell strongly and rightly so how to maneuver to get things work in the economy. Bella, where are we today? And why are we here? We are here today, or we are where we are today because certain causative factors came into play before we came in. Before we get to where we are. You see, Babella, to appreciate the movement or to appreciate what the government of the day is doing, let us ask ourselves, when Ghanaians gave the mandate to the NPP 5 years ago, what was the situation of the economy? Those who today say that, look, the government should have done better. The government should have taken us to heavens. We should have been in paradise by now. Ask them, what did they do, okay, before they exited government? Where did they leave the economy? Bella, I can tell you with all certainty that our economy in 2016, even in the midst of COVID today, okay, cannot be compared to what we have today.
It cannot?
There are a lot of factors to look at. If you look at the economic indices, look at the figures that points to whether we are on a right trajectory or not, and compare or juxtapose same to the 2016 happenings. Trust me, you would recommend that these people continue to manage the affairs.
They left you 3 oil wells.
They left what?
They left you 3 oil wells, didn't they? And that's something that they've said over time. That even at the time when you came into power,
to the finance minister,
if we look at the public debt, now we are 351 billion, and that is way above where they left off in 2016. And so you cannot say that
very good.
You are doing better than them.
I'm happy you are speaking about debt. If you listen to the finance minister, he's made a proposal out there and said on that proposal that negotiation again or is still ongoing to ensure that 20% only, okay, of the IPP arrangements that we have with the power producers, okay, be cut or be reduced from whatever that we're supposed to pay. Ask yourself, who initiated those contracts and got Ghana into those contracts and then burdened Ghana with that said debts? That alone, the 20% alone, will give us about 1.5 billion Ghana cedis reprieve.
But that doesn't form part of the 20% cut in expenditure because it was not even in the budget.
Energy sector alone,
okay,
they take or pay contracts that we recklessly went into. The NDC recklessly went into and plunged Ghana into that. That negotiation is ongoing by this government. And the finance minister tells you that, yes, you have just asked of, debts.
Debt, yes.
And I am telling you that even the NDC before they left, okay, after putting us into darkness for 4 good years, making us struggle, economy went down, the poor man who was a barber, somebody who was a welder, could not work. Those selling ice water on the streets could not work because we had no power for 4 good years. We had to go through trauma. What they did again is that they signed recklessly some contracts, take or pay, just to increase our capacity. Today, when you ask, we increase capacity. How did you do that? Whether we like the power they are producing or they are not, or we don't like it, we pay for it. And the government of the day says it is better. We renegotiate, get them to understand that we need to look at certain, measures to cut down on some of these expenditure. And I'm saying just 20% of that, according to the finance minister, would yield Ghana some 1.5 billion Ghana cedis.
Why didn't you do this earlier?
We are on. That's why I say it is a negotiation that is ongoing. Since we came, we have been on their neck. The power producers, we've tried our best.
You're in your 6th year.
Yes, and I'm saying that we did not just sleep. We didn't go to sleep. We have, because it's a contract. There are clauses, but how well can we renegotiate with them to be able to save Ghana from that. That's one side. Two, the minority leader says what? Social spending should have been cut. That is the view. What are the social spending? That the poor woman sitting in Nanton, that poor woman sitting in Zhao, and that poor woman sitting in Zwarungu, in the Upper East region, who has nothing, who sells kose to see to the kids going to school. And the government of the day says, look, let us try as much as possible to give each and everybody a level playground by ensuring that basic education is free, so that we can at least prepare this nation, put this nation on a pedestal, that the young people tomorrow will be able to at least help us develop this nation because they are informed. Free SHS. You say government should look at it and push it away. The next moment,
but your own information minister had come out earlier and said that there was going to be a review of the flagship programs.
I am saying that when they talk about social spending, they talk about we coming up with proper policies, social intervention policy. We should have looked at that. And I'm just giving you an example of one of the most important one that ensures that Bella, your brother or your sister is educated, my brother or my sister is educated, that poor woman who cannot get money in Ayenswano to take care of the kids, gets the kids in school. The minority is telling us they are the best alternative and that we should cut that off.
They're not saying cut it, they said review. They said review. And the minority minister said yesterday that it's time for us to have an open conversation about the free SHS. Let us review it. If we're looking at all the money that we're spending, and there have been concerns about the oil money that has been invested in free SHS, that is one of the reasons why we are where we are today. Why not invest that oil money? And then if we're making some benefits from it, we can invest some of that into free SHS instead of dipping into that and spending all on free SHS.
If you listen to the preamble of my submission this morning, I did say that he who carries the load knows the burden better. And he who is given the mandate to reign or to rule, of course, has availability of the books in his hands and knows how it goes and know how to maneuver with it. And I'm saying that the call by some people, the social intervention be cut, that alone is not going to be good for us. It's inimical. Bella, to continue with, I am saying that the government of the day says that we are cutting certain costs and taking certain measures. The MPs in parliament, all of them, and I'm talking minority and majority, there's a proposal for all of them to have pay cuts. The minority MPs have come out to tell us, look us in the face and say, no, we will not accept any pay cut.
Because they said you got us here. With your frivolous spending.
We are talking
and so
Ghana.
Why should they take a pay cut?
Ghana.
When they were taking a pay cut in the past
Ghana.
to build chip compounds, you said you will not support. And
that's
so you
even
did not
another
take pay
story
cuts.
to tell you one day. Are you sure that all of them took the pay cuts at the last time? But of course, the point I want to make is let's stay put to where we have. And I'm saying that the pay cuts, the minority who claim they love Ghana, who claim they are the people we should vote for, says that they look Ghanaians in the face, that we will not accept pay cuts.
Honorable Kennedy Osenyako is an MPP
They will
MP.
not.
Honorable Kennedy Osenyako is an
Yes.
MPP MP. He said that he will not agree to it unless there's a consensus in Parliament. And so it's not just the minority that is saying.
He gave a caveat. He didn't say that he would not. Maybe personally he has his own. But I didn't even listen to him. But of course, that's a caveat. The caveat is if there's a consensus. So if there's a proposal out there, I expect that you are the policy makers. I mean, you are the lawmakers. If you are the lawmakers and you are an example, you are our representatives. You know how it feels. You are calling for austerity measures to be put in place. And the government of the day says that, look, the way to go now, let us look at pay cuts. Let us look at how coupons will be reduced. Let us look at how government expenditure will come down. Then you look us in the face and say, vote for me. But me, I'm not ready for pay cuts.
But he says consensus. We know what consensus has been like in Parliament in the last few months when it comes in a year.
When it comes to what they earn in Parliament mostly, and with all respect to all parliamentarians, usually they do not actually differ. Usually, they all come into agreement to the way it goes for them. But I'm saying, at least it's even sad for me to hear from the minority who are saying that, look, the economy is not going well, saying that we are not ready to even take pay cuts.
But you don't give them fuel coupons.
But the government...
They buy fuel with the salary they make. They're paying car loans as against the majority MPs who are either on a board, they are ministers. At least they have something else to increase, their salaries that they're taking. And they're getting fuel coupons. And even that we're told that there's just going to be a 50% cut. And Ghanaians are saying, why 50%? How are they still going to feel or bear the brunt? Because they should also know what it feels like to buy fuel at a high rate and maybe they'll appreciate why they should not even be wasting fuel in the first place.
Bella, the last time I checked, in every institution you go, there's a CBA for workers. Okay? A collective bargaining agreement, be it private or be it public. There's a CBA for you. And in that CBA, which spells out your conditions of service, maybe relative to where you belong, will spell out that these are the benefits that you are supposed to earn. And that I'm making this point because if you say that you are a public worker, okay, I'm saying public workers also come with a CBA. And such CBA spells out conditions of services, as it were, on their appointments, on whatever that they have. Now, being a public service worker does not mean that entirely you are supposed to jettison whatever you are going to benefit. But of course, the government says that once there has been a condition put in place, if you were, say, taking 500 cedis for fuel, today we are cutting 50% of that. You have 250 Ghana cedis. That is some saving made to Ghana. That's some savings made to Ghana. So those measures that government has brought up, look, no matter how it is, if we were even earning, say, for example, 20 billion Ghana cedis out of what they have done, there has been a reduction. And it is important for us, all of us, to say that let us support the government, let us try as much as possible to listen to what the government has said, give them the time to work and then ensure that indeed our economy is back on track.
Okay.
But to end with, let us also remind ourselves that when this country, and not just this country, globally, were hit by COVID, the President of the Republic of Ghana made a very famous statement. He said, look, what we know how to do is to fix our economy if it is broken. But however, what we cannot do is to bring back lives that will be lost. So we are committed to ensuring that this economy, even if it's broken, but the lives of the people are saved. And that is what is very important. And I tell you, if the NDC were in power, Bella, it would have been a doom.
Would you ask the judiciary to also take a pay cut?
Oh,
you're asking the legislature, you're asking the executive.
We're referring to everybody. The Council of State have shown their way. The Council of State have said
let me go to lawyer then.
of the allowance should go down.
Okay.
So all of us, if we love Ghana, come on board. Let us try as much as possible to bite the bullet and ensure that Ghana is fixed again.
Let me come to Lawyer Janto, but quickly before that. So Honorable Sam Okudzeto-Ablakwa tweeted yesterday and said, my dilemma, though I'm convinced and determined to take a pay cut by as much as 40%, I'm torn between giving it to a government that has proven over the years to lack frugality, and whether I shouldn't rather be spending the cut on my constituency social initiatives. Your advice, please. And if you check the comments, majority of the people there are saying that give it to your constituency. Do not give it to government.
It is his opinion when he says the government
do not give it to government.
The government that lacks
you are going to put the money in the consolidated fund anyway. Why not select a project to do or to spend that money on?
It is his opinion when he says the government lacks frugality. The government that lacks frugality will not come
let me bring Lawyer Jantua in. Lawyer, what do you make of... It's interesting how you just looked at me. Are we in trouble here?
No.
What do you make of the announcements yesterday?
Bella, good morning to our viewers. Good morning to my fellow panelists. Let me ask the question. Do Ghanaians have confidence in the Minister of Finance? That's the first question I'll ask. And if they don't have confidence in the Minister of Finance, do they have confidence in the government to be able to steer us out of the challenges we face? Look, when you look at the cuts that the Finance Minister has made, all the cuts are based on BOST. The BOST margin, the UPPF, fuel marketing margin, primary distribution margin. Let me give an insight what these do. The primary distribution margin, 3P. The primary distribution margin in terms of the amount is 10 pesos. So he's taking 3P of that. What does the primary distribution margin do? The purpose for it is to pay for inter-depot transfer of petroleum products. When bulk road vehicles transfer products from depot in Tema to other depots across the country, the primary distribution margin pays for the cost to ensure uniformity in prices. Second, fuel marking margin. The fuel marking margin, let me try and find it.
1% is gone?
Yes, the fuel is 5%. 1% is gone on that one. I'm trying to scroll down as to what it does, and if I don't find it, I'll move. The fuel marking margin. Purpose, to ensure the quality of the petroleum products at the depot and retail outlets. Listen to this one. To ensure the quality of the petroleum products at the depot and retail outlets. I'll come to that. UPPF. The UPPF is UPPF is 29 pesos. He's taking off 9 pesos on the UPPF. What does the UPPF do? The purpose of the UPPF, this pays for depot to retail outlet transfers. When bulk road vehicles takes petroleum products from the depot to the retail outlets across the country, the UPPF pays for the cost to ensure price uniformity. Now, and he's taking 2 pesos off the bust margin. So you see, all this is concentrated on bust. Now, the challenge we have here, and some of the challenges we've had with the transportation, is the tampering of the fuel, is the adulteration of the fuel, and the cost of transportation of those tankers is high. You've taken it off. What if they come and say, we can't afford to transport fuel to the depots? What would happen? Because at the present moment, we are not transporting fuel through pipelines. Everything goes via the trucks. If they can't afford to do it, is that not a shortage of fuel at the OMs and the petrol depots? So that is that. Now, let's come to LPG. Said nothing about LPG. And LPG affects the individual in real time. And it has an effect of climate change. Because if people can't afford LPG, what do? They go back to firewood. Nothing was said about that. 3, I thought it was a huge opportunity to talk about toll booths. Because the minister himself indicated that they rushed in the decision of toll booths. This would have been a fantastic time to say, okay, we didn't make the right decision on toll booths. We are bringing it back to expand some of the monies that we are looking for. Nothing was said about that. Then I would have thought that it being a good platform, and Noridin would tell me, oh, we are looking for immediate. Kamal would tell me, we are looking for immediate measures. We are not only looking for immediate measures. I expected him to outline immediate, medium, long term. What does that do? It brings confidence into the system. It brings confidence to international investors to say, so the medium term, this is what they're looking at. Oh, long term, this is what they're looking at. And to show how you police it. That is the challenge. Of all the raft of changes the finance minister has brought in, because we've had some of these things before, haven't we?
Yeah, we have.
What happened? He talked about a moratorium on purchase of imported vehicles.
Yeah.
I thought
We've done that before in 2017.
I thought that was done before. And during independence, Cape Coast, when I watched it on TV, I wasn't able to go there because petrol was a problem. When I saw the quantum of four-wheel drives at independence, I asked myself, is Ghana a poor country? Is Ghana a poor country? That right now the minister is telling us moratorium on purchase of vehicles, four-wheel drives. So we've been buying four-wheel drives. We found the money to buy four-wheel drives. Okay. Then let me come to, the government says they are going to inject 2 billion. We're going around the world to find money. Even
before this 2 billion, let's go back to even the fuel conversation. I remember that at the time when fuel had increased and, GPRT said they were embarking on a strike, they were not going to drive if the fuel was not decreased. I remember they asked for some of the taxes to be taken off. Now, Senor Hosi, who's the CEO of Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors, had asked for the bust margin to be scrapped. And yesterday, if you hear from him, he says that he's happy with the decision that governments had made, with regards to some of these things that he asked for, especially bust margin. And so he is in the thick of things and probably knows what it feels like to be paying this high amount. And he's saying that scrap bust margin, is that not good enough? If you're saying that it's not.
I'm in the thick of things. Bust need money. BOST need money to operate, because at the present moment, BOST is more competing with the OMCs than being a stock institution where they keep stock for petroleum stock for government. BOST need money. They are not being given money by government, so they need to find their own IGF to be able to maintain it. So when Senor says we should scrap it, how would BOST be able to maintain itself? How?
That's $1 million.
How?
That's a good question.
Because BOST need the money to operate, whatever the case is. So you scrap it, and what happens? And if we don't have strategic stocks, what happens then? So Senor should come again on that one.
Okay.
Now, in terms of the CD, other countries had COVID,
Yeah.
and I'm not even looking at the Americas, because the quantum of COVID they had, if Ghana had it, would be wiped off the map. I'm talking about African countries. They took a basket of countries looking at their currency. Where was Ghana? Where did Ghana place? Weren't we last? Weren't we rubbished? Ourselves and Zambia rubbished as our currency was one of the useless currencies. So if we all went through COVID, unfortunately, COVID didn't hit Africa the way it hit other parts of the world. Why is it that they have been able to maintain their currency at a certain level and we haven't? Did the finance minister address that?
But the Bank of Ghana had already addressed what they were doing about, building the currency, the cedi depreciation as well. They said they were going to increase the policy, so it's at least they made an effort. Which is why, and I'm asking that because when you listen to the Deputy Finance Minister, Bena, she says that we came in to also address the other things that had not been addressed yet. So Bank of Ghana had already stated what they were going to do to increase the cedi, at least to stop it from depreciation. And that is one step. We've also come in and we're saying that we're going to also pump in some forex so that fuel prices will go down. So we're also making an effort.
Have we not pumped in forex in the past? This measure that the Bank of Ghana did, where they pump in dollars to shore up the cedi, has it not been done in the past? Was it not done 2014, 2015? And where do we get that forex from? Isn't it from our international balance? And if we keep pumping, and we get to a stage where we've depleted our foreign balance, what happens?
So that policy rate of 17%, you don't think that it is?
What happens? We head for IMF. Easy. You see, the question of IMF is based on the fact that international situations can push us there, even if we don't want to go. International situations can push us there. So let me ask the question. If it so happened that the raft of cuts that the finance minister has brought in and fuels keep soaring, prices on the international market keep soaring, what does that do to the measures? BDCs go buy and it's still high. What does that do to the measures? They expect the BDCs to also review their margins, which is what they said yesterday. BDCs or OMCs? Yeah. They said OMCs, yes. Not BDCs. BDCs are the ones who bring the fuel in. If they go and they buy on credit, if they buy on credit, it means that the interest rates are high. If they buy through middlemen, it means that the margins for these middlemen are high. They've got to be able to buy direct from the refinery. But even that, with the Ukrainian situation, is going to be a challenge. It's going to be a challenge. So, let me ask the question. What happened to the stabilization fund? The stabilization fund that we started at 500 million, what happened to it? Unfortunately, both parties kept cutting it. Right now, the stabilization fund is what? 300 million. Why didn't we leave it to grow? If we had left the stabilization fund to grow, that would have been able to support the budget. Did we do it? We Finance Minister said they had put it in the consolidated fund. So consolidated fund is a basket with a hole underneath. It's a basket with a hole underneath. The Finance Minister has indicated that Article 71 people
when they get the pay cuts, that's where it's going to go as well.
How do you monitor it? And you see, the challenge is, how do the people know that these measures you've brought in, you are monitoring it? How do they know?
Okay.
How are you going to let the people know? What are you going to do to let the people build confidence? That's the key word. Confidence in the government, in the Ministry of Finance, to be able to push the measures. And if you can't build confidence in the people and prices start rising, how do we know that the government has been able to handle it?
Okay. Let me bring Lawyer Maliba in to also, of course, tell me what he makes of it. I mean, the minority MPs say they are not going to take a pay cut. That's out of the question because it is this government that messed up the economy, and so they should fix it. What do you say? And, of course, looking at the other measures that have been put in place, do they make sense?
Yesterday's press conference by the finance minister was a complete waste of prime time.
How so?
In fact, if your station had used it to show us that your program, that the girls come and choose their men, it would have been better. What's the name of that program?
Date Rush?
Date Rush.
It would have been better than listening to the finance minister tell Ghanaians what government is doing to address the economy.
Far better. And
is that not below the belt?
And that's why I'm saying that his press conference was a complete waste of prime time. Now, let me go on. If you are a Ghanaian and you expected that this morning, after the press conference, lorry fares will go down, you'll be disappointed. If you are a Ghanaian and you thought that this morning, after the press conference, cement prices will go down, you'll be disappointed. If you are a Ghanaian and you thought that after the press conference, LPG will go down, you are disappointed.
Even with a 15 peso
In
reduction.
fact, after the press conference, the GPRTU, what did they say? Prices will go up. Once again, it was a complete waste of prime time. And I stand by my words.
There's some 15 peso reduction.
Look, let me tell you something. If we were in a democracy where governments take the welfare needs of their people seriously, the first measure, he nearly touched on it, but he dodged it.
Nearly.
And the measure that I'm going to say, he nearly touched on it, but he dodged it. See, the first measure that this government will take will be to fire the finance minister. Ask me why.
The same man who came out to come and tell us.
Let me tell you, he would have been the first person to be fired. That would have been part of the measures.
Why?
Because we are in this hole because of reckless borrowing. Say I'm lying. We are in this big hole because of reckless borrowing. His penchant, insatiable desire for borrowing is so manifest that even the measures he came to discuss, there's borrowing inside. $2 billion to inject. Where is he getting it? He's borrowing it.
Yeah.
And you've brought that same person to tell us that these are the measures.
Well, they're saying either we look within and tax more, or we, look at our partners and find a way to get the money from them.
My submissions are to the fact that nothing has changed for the Ghanaian. Nothing has changed for the Ghanaian. See, my brother here was playing God, saying that if the NDC were in power, things would have been worse. We left you 14 cedis per gallon of petrol. Today, how much is it? 50 cedis per gallon. And you sit here to tell the people of Ghana that NDC would have been worse. We left the debt stock, public debt stock, 120 billion. And that 120 billion is from Diago de Azambuja to Gordon Gorgesberg to Nkrumah to our time, is the 120. You alone, you have borrowed more than 250 billion Ghana cedis. And you sit here to say that NDC would have been worse off. We, in the NDC, left you $250 million in the sinking fund. Why? debt to GDP ratio, we left you with 54%. Today, debt to GDP ratio is 80-something%. And you have the guts to sit and watch Ghanaians in their face and say that NDC would have been worse than this. We had access to capital market. You have been downgraded. It's what CC what is it?
CA1.
CA1.
To banana status. You sit here and you have no access. Why are you bringing e-levy? Because you go to the international committee, they've closed the door at you. They said the international market, they've closed the door at you. You can't borrow. And you sit here and tell the people of this country, using prime time this morning, and say that NDC, MPP would have been better. So sometimes when they are talking, you don't know whether where they slept had an effect on them or not. Look, in this, what the measures they put out, you realize that, and he partly talked about it, you realize that all the cutting came from operational cost. He itemizes, I'm just in bulk operational cost. But the taxes that go directly to government have not been touched. Tell me, you tell me, on what basis would you be paying sanitation levy? I know in my house, I have a dustbin outside, and I pay for it. On what basis would you, as a government, impose sanitation tax on me, and yet Accra is filthy? If this is no rip-off, why are they not taking it off? So, but you see, it depends on who is employing. If the employer himself is not of a high caliber, he will employ weak employees. Under this administration, it appears we glorify mediocrity. Under this administration, we glorify mediocrity. Why on earth would the person who took us to this situation, who brought us to where we are, be the person championing a resurrection of the economy? But I can understand.
He's the finance minister.
No, yeah.
He's the finance minister.
Zambia. Did you hear yesterday? If it's not Zambia, Zimbabwe, but one of the Z countries, Zambia. The foreign affairs minister was arrested yesterday for wrongdoing. I am saying that finance minister has inflicted wrongs on us. He shouldn't be in as finance minister again.
So he should be fired and arrested? He should be arrested as well?
I'm talking about wrongdoing. I'm not talking about arresting.
No, but you just gave an example. And I'm asking that, so is that what you are insinuating?
I am saying that he should be fired from his office for wrongdoing to the people of this country. This wrongdoing, I'm not saying that he should be arrested.
The president says he's the one who can take us to the promised land. And you're saying he should be fired.
I just gave you an example. I just gave you a statement about an employer and employee. When I speak, I know what I'm talking about. If you have a weak employer, he employs a weak employee. So forget about that. I've answered that question before. I preempted. I knew you asked me that question. Now, because we are not a serious country under this administration, you still have the finance minister championing the resurrection. And I'm saying that this same person cannot take us to the promised land, because it is his handiwork that everybody is crying about. On this program that we are all crying, it is his handiwork that brought us to where we are. And so, why? I am of the view that this administration has lost it and cannot deal with the welfare needs of the people. He keeps saying that when you are in government, you have been given the books, or is it the resources or whatever, and so you look at where to touch and where not to touch. But he should also know that when you are given the reins of government, your primary aim is to ensure that the citizens do not suffer. I was expecting, when he touched on foreign travels, I was expecting a statement that the president will no longer fly in a 14,000 luxurious per hour, 14,000 per hour luxurious jet. That is part of the measures.
You expect him to say that. But when we ask that question, we're told that it's a national security matter. How do they then come out and talk about it?
So that's why one pastor whose video went viral said that if you see your president flying in 14,000 per hour flight, surely when UTAC are going on strike, you can't tell them that they shouldn't go on strike. Surely when Gov't is going on strike, you can't tell them not to go on strike because they are seeing the opulence of the president. So I was expecting that when the issue of he touched on foreign travels, I was expecting that a bold statement that the president will now make use of our presidential jet. And that, again, would have been part of the measures. He has already talked about the V8 and the long convoys. But I'm also talking about the fact that in the midst of dire situations, you have a president who has, all by himself, extricated himself from this poor condition that the people live in and is living affluently. I was expecting that we would have said that the president will now begin using our private jet. You know how much this 14,000 per hour cost? That amount to France can do to a poor community. It can turn around the lives of those people by providing them with water.
Recently, when he went to Dubai, he flew commercial.
That cannot erase the things that he did. A teacher has raped 4 children. Then you say that, oh, but the last one he has not raped. For the last one he has not raped. And so how about the 4 children?
So are you saying there's not a single measure in here that was good enough? I mean, we have pay cuts by 30% from the executive. Council of State has already mentioned that they're taking a 20% allowance cut. We have 50% off fuel coupons. And government says they're going to inject some $20 billion into the economy. They hope to pass the tax exemptions bill as well. That is going to rake in quite a lot of money for us. You're saying all these ones that have been mentioned, not a single one of them is good enough?
Apart from telling you that Ghanaians expected something and didn't get it this morning, I'll still go to tell you something about that one too. This one. This pay cut. Who is monitoring for us to know that those pay cuts have been taken? And what are they going to use it for?
We're told it's going into the consolidated. Yeah, fine.
So how do we know that that has been done? Who monitors that? I am told that it is a committee in the finance minister's office that is monitoring. Can you imagine? Can you imagine a committee within the finance minister's office monitoring that? Will that be a proper supervision? A committee within the finance ministry? What happens to oversight? How come that approach, those strategies, or what did they call it, measures, cannot be given to the Minister of Finance, the committee, the finance committee, to do the monitoring? Why don't we have the finance committee monitoring to see that those things are being done? So clearly, I am saying that this morning, the people of this country are disappointed because they expected that there will be a reduction in fares. And you know, and I also know, he has talked about charcoal, even charcoal. The price of charcoal is dependent on transport fares. Everything in this country is dependent on transport fares. So if my fares are going to rather be increased, because after hearing the finance minister, GPRU are disappointed, you expect me to say that there's something good this morning in what has happened?
We're saving about 52 million Ghana cedis on the fuel coupons, the 50% cut on fuel coupons, according to the Deputy Minister. We're looking at saving about 3.5 billion Ghana cedis overall from the measures that have been instituted.
Why is it that Honorable Okudjota Ablakwa is saying that he won't give his money to government? There is simply no trust in this. You can't give. It's like a hyena. You know a hyena?
Yes.
You leave a goat with a hyena. Huh? And so these cats that you are talking about.
So who is the goat?
The money is our goat. Now, he should be uncomfortable. He should be uncomfortable.
Come on, give me just a minute. I'll let him end.
Come on, continue to be uncomfortable. You are trying to come in.
Come on.
You are trying to come in. No, come out in. I displayed decorum when you were speaking. So, you are urging him to cut me. You can't cut me.
No, I'm not. I cannot be controlled.
So you cannot trust these people when they say that coupon distance have been cut by 50%. These people, man, look, there is absolutely no comfort for the Ghanaian. And I have said that if we were interested in comforting Ghanaians, see, I will tell you something here. Energy debt levy, 49p. Why are they not touching the 49p? They are rather going to touch 2p things. Why are they not touching the 16p price stabilization levy? 16p. Why are they not touching it? There's even some 45%. Road fund is 48p. Why are they not touching it? They simply do not want to address the pains of Ghanaians. This is the area where they should have been touching. Sanitation levy should have gone. They have not done that. So, in a nutshell, I would say that what we saw the finance minister do yesterday was simply a soap opera, which you people, the media, gave prime time to, which was needless.
Okay. Let me bring Kamal in, and shortly we'll come back to the tax exemptions bill because we're told that will make us some 20 billion Ghana cedis. But even before that, let's talk about fuel because Lawyer Janto raised it. And yes, of course, if we go back to even the Concerned Drivers Association, they asked for 5 of these taxes to be cut. Now, the NPA, we're told, gave 3 of these taxes to government, expecting that they'll be cut. None of them were touched.
Well, Bella, thank you very much. I think Honorable Jantua and, of course, Amalwa have actually touched on so many issues and tried to dent the image of this government.
Try to dent the image?
Yes, when I say to dent the image of the government, the impression created out there is that the government should have done XYZ or could have done XYZ and hasn't done it. Okay? So you're trying to dent the image, as it were. That's the point.
Trying? What reason would they have to do that?
I am saying, well, that is, Bella, you've given me time.
Everybody and their opinion.
Explain yourself, because
I have just explained myself. I'm saying that they have said and created an impression out there that this and that could have been done or should have been done. Now, if that is the impression they are creating out there, one who is listening to them thinks that the government could have done this and didn't do this, hence denting the image of
you
government.
think Ghanaians are not smart enough to decipher for themselves? Do they have to wait to listen to the two of them?
You have been very quiet listening to them speak.
I get it, but these statements that you're making, and I'm asking, no, hold on, come on. The Ghanaian is watching. I am Ghanaian as well. Hold on. No, hold on. I will let you speak without interjecting. But I'm just asking a question. That are you saying that the regular Ghanaian out there is not smart enough to decipher from what the minister said, whether they are happy with the measures that were put in place or not, and they have to wait for Lawyer Jantua and Lawyer Maliba to speak, to, in quotes, dent government's image before they take their word?
We are having a discussion. There's a discourse currently ongoing. Which discussion depicts a debate on the table. And I'm saying the submission has actually come from me, come from Lawyer Jantua, and come from Amaliba. I have said here that listening to the two of them, they sought to dent the image of government by saying that hence 10210 should have been done, which the government hasn't done.
And I'm saying, you're putting words in my mouth,
what I'm
which
saying,
isn't right.
Please. That is an interpretation I'm giving. I'm putting to your discussion. I didn't say you said so, please. I didn't say so. But I'm putting an interpretation to your submission. That's what I said.
Your interpretation
but anyway,
is wrong.
Let me get to the matter.
Okay.
Now you have put on the table the matters of fuel, which, of course, Honorable Jantua touched on, and then Amalba also touched on a bit at the tail end of his submission. But you see, Bella, what is important for Ghanaians to note is that I made a point that we don't vote for a government to just come and sit there because you have voted for me. We vote for a government to work to ensure that you better the lot of the people that you are governing. First of all, if you take Ghana and take the MPP government since we came in 2017, some 6,250 kilometers of roads has actually been constructed, unprecedented in the history of the Fourth Republican Constitution. Unprecedented. And nobody can challenge that.
You didn't answer my question,
it's on road. I'll come to that. You don't have a problem. Okay. I'm saying that
we don't have time.
We don't have time. But I'm going to be as fast as possible.
Okay.
I'm saying some 6,250 kilometers of roads constructed by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo-led administration, unprecedented in the history of the Fourth Republican Constitution. Some 11 interchanges. And as I speak to you, inshallah, on the 29th, the president will be in Tamale, first of its kind in the northern part of Ghana, to commission the interchange that the doomsayers, the naysayers, the NDC said it will not be possible that will come in. Again,
how does that reflect in the price of fuel? Because, again, as at December 2021, fuel was at 6 Ghana cedis, 80 pesos. GPRTU says take out the energy sector recovery levy, which is at 20 pesos, sanitation and pollution levy at 10 pesos, energy debt recovery levy, road fund levy, and special petroleum levy. At that time, if you had taken that out, that would have been 1 cedi, 73 pesos, taken off the price of fuel at that time. So we would have been paying about 5 cedis for fuel. Bella, you did not do that. Now fast forward, you come and now take out some other levies that Ghanaians are not asking for. Because you are not answering my question. You are not answering my question. My question is, how is it that there's about a 40% increase in the price of fuel between December and now? And you come out and take only 15 pesos off. And even the taxes that you touched on, they are not the taxes that Ghanaians are asking you to take out. Please answer that question for me.
Thank you. Bella, I would answer the question which I served notice earlier on before even starting with the build-up. I'm saying that we are speaking to Ghanaians. Ghanaians, of course, must appreciate, and I know some of them do. But of course, let me reiterate that the achievements of this government cannot also go unmentioned on this program, which I have started off by saying that, look, these are the roads, these are the interchanges, these are the employments we have created. Very important. Since the government of the day came in, teachers were not employed.
Kamal, I don't have time.
It took the government to do that. I'm telling you, I have time.
I don't have time. I have to share it evenly.
It took the government to ensure that
how does a 4 cedi increase in the cost of fuel in about 4 months, and you come out and take just about 15 pesos? So please answer that for me, please. I don't have time.
Oh, Bella.
I'm sorry, but I don't have time. Come on.
Oh my God. Bella.
Listen, my producers are counting me down, so I need you to go straight to the point.
And I will insist that you allow me to use this time to ensure that I give my submission and, of course, answer your question as well. With all respect to you, Bella, please, with all respect. And I'm saying that, yes, you have asked a question about fuel. You have asked a question why fuel has actually risen to this level, why some taxes have not been touched. And I'm saying, yes, as part of my submission, I am going to address that, inshallah. But, of course, these are some achievements that we need to enumerate. I mean, to let people know that indeed this government is not just that black, and that the government cares so much about us. So it is important for me to go on that tangent. Now I'm saying about employment. Today we sit here. Teachers will tell you that this government has employed more teachers than any government in this world.
We are talking about petrol.
Today as we sit here, today I'm coming.
Come on.
Please, why are you doing this?
I'm sorry, but I'm going to be forced to move on.
This is not,
because you are not answering the question.
No, I disagree.
I'm sorry, but if you keep talking about employment, that's not what we're touching on.
Is it a worry for me to give achievement?
That's not what the finance minister touched on. That's not what we want to hear. The Ghanaian at this point is not asking you about employment. They're asking about the price of fuel.
I am not allowed to enumerate the achievements of government, but they are allowed to come and tell you the
price of fuel from December till now.
Did you ask
and government comes in? Hold on.
Did you ask him of jet travel?
But it is part of what the finance minister mentioned.
I am saying that you asked Amaliba is
foreign travel.
It is part of
foreign travel.
No, but he touched on all of that.
Foreign travel.
So can you respond to that fuel?
Now I'll get your fuel.
Please get to that point now.
First of all, even before we get to where we are with fuel moving up, I am happy that John Tua is here and he's in the industry. And of course, he understands it better as well. Look, I have met him several times on that. And I'm saying that, look, one, the deregulation that we gave to ourselves in 2015, which he knows, and Amalba knows, and I do know, okay, tells you clearly that government has no harm, no business in determining the prices of fuel in this country. And just to touch on that.
Government has no hand?
No.
So why did the MPA then go to the Ministry of Energy?
If you go and read the Deregulation Act, law that we gave ourselves, government doesn't have a hand. Where government has a hand is, yes, indeed, the margins that you just spoke about. That the boss margin is part of it. Even that when Senor Jose says that, look, wait a minute, please, I beg you, please.
Price windows.
Lawyer, I'll let you come in. I'll let you come in, please. You let him land, I'll let you come in. Producer, you might have to give me just a few more minutes,
please.
Respect.
Even him disagreed with Senor Jose when he says that, look, boss margin must be scrapped completely. And he made an allusion to the fact that there must be operational cost, or there will be operational cost of quality incurred by boss. Hence, you cannot scrap that. It is an important one. Now, he makes the point, or we all make a point here, or I now make a point that the Deregulation Act that we put to ourselves tells you that the government bit and what government can do has to do with the taxes. Now, somebody says that, why are the taxes not scrapped? Today, we sit here. Revenue mobilization is key. The government of the day is struggling because we have to raise revenue to ensure that these development, those social amenities that you're looking for are met. Then the first person says that, the next person says that, go and scrap all the taxes and take all the taxes away so that you will not be able to have your revenue.
They said review. They said review some of the taxes.
It is, you see, you have to review. But
the one they're asking to scrap is the sanitation and pollution levy.
In ensuring a revision, you must also make sure that what you have actually is adequate enough to ensure that the developmental needs of the people are met. Isn't it so? Now you sit here today, you are saying that your revenue shortfalls are high because your revenue mobilization is a bit weak and you have problem. You have existing taxes. Then somebody says, go and scrap those taxes.
Okay.
Recklessly, we don't manage an economy like that.
Okay.
So the prices of fuel, look, nobody can say that it is the making of government. It is the regulation that has caused it, and then we move on with it.
Okay, I know Lawyer Janto has to go. So
I'm actually not.
I mean, you didn't. I'm sorry, but you were not answering my question.
I'm not happy with the way.
Lawyer has to go. So I mean, I'll let you all speak. Please allow them to also get the second chance to speak, and then they'll go. No, I'm sorry, Kamal, but I asked you a question. I needed you to touch it. You should have gone straight to that. Lawyer Janto,
me and not let me make my submission. I don't know. Maybe it's a plan.
You know what, my brother?
How is it a plan?
I don't know.
I have no plan against you.
You know what, my brother Kamel is forgetting. When you go to the granite seller out here and you buy granules and there's one in it, you put it in your mouth, one is rotten, and you put it in your mouth, what happens? What does the rotten one do? It spoils the taste of all, and that is what they are forgetting. Look, I indicated when all this started that government cannot do anything about the price build-up. Absolutely nothing. And the finance minister has been pushed because the people of this country are talking about do something about the price build-up. So
that's the point.
And he didn't do what they expected him to do. Those areas which they expected him to cut, he didn't cut. But they cannot do anything about it. They cannot do anything about the price build-up. Because of where the economy is today, they need every peswa. That's why it's gone into the boss side. Every single peswa is required. They can't do it. So tell us you can't do it. Tell us it is not possible.
It's doable.
But he's trying to do it.
No, but look, who is pushing for it?
Look. The fact that we are pushing for it, you've got to have strategies to tell us that we can't do X, Y, Z because of WEY, and this is what we'll do. Did the finance minister touch corruption? Did he say anything about corruption? Did he say anything about the Auditor General's reports? Let me ask you a question. If you are looking for $6 billion, $7 billion e-levy.
From e-levy, 6.9, yes.
A year.
Billion Ghana cedis, actually.
Million Ghana cedis a year. Billion, not million.
Billion, yes.
Billion a year.
Yeah.
How much did we lose last year, Auditor General?
Okay.
Isn't it 12.8 billion?
Lawyer, we have to.
So when you look at the balance, how does that weigh? How does that weigh?
Okay. Coco, allow Lawyer Abraham Malba to speak. Lawyer Jantua says that he's available to the show end, so don't worry. Okay, Lawyer Malba.
I am hearing that government has no hand in the pricing of petrol, fuel. The God of John Mahama should come down, and the John of Mahama would one day, and it's already showing that
in the John of
people are beginning to suffer because of what they did to John Mahama. John Mahama was a wicked one, but today, government has no hand. Next point, there is no interchange in Tamale. There is at best a bridge over the commercial business district. And if you want to be magnanimous to them, it's a flyover. Interchange, they don't know what it is.
They said there was nothing.
It is just like going to dig ponds and say they have dug dams. This is not an interchange. You know Tamale very well. That thing is a bridge.
Yes, I know Tamale.
That thing is a bridge over the central business district. At best, we can give it to them. It is what? A flyover, not an interchange.
You didn't even have a brick, one brick. You couldn't even.
You don't have a interchange. You don't have an interchange.
I mean, yesterday.
You don't have an interchange.
Okay.
If I may address Kamal's question.
Sorry, lawyer, we'll come back
about
to you.
deregulation. There is windows every 2 weeks. NPA is a government institution. Those windows determine prices. So why can't you tell me that government doesn't have a hand?
Based on laid down formulas.
Whatever
the MPA determines based on laid down formulas. We don't know.
So leave it.
Okay.
Leave it open.
I have to go. Don't worry, we will project something that Kamaldeen wants to talk about from his
The only
constituency.
person sweating on this program is Kamaldeen. You see him.
Yesterday, the deputy minister could not even mention how much will be accrued from the salary cut from the executive.
Yes.
We'll give,
And how
do you? We'll give you the figures.
Yes,
I think
because
I projected something for me.
Clearly, they don't even know. They don't do their work well before they come. And so, if a deputy minister cannot tell you how much you get from those cuts, it's a clear indication of how shoddy their work is.
I'm about to raise money for some committees.
We have gotten
Final
from January
point,
to now.
please.
From January to now, fuel price has increased by more than 50%. Somebody said even 70%.
It's about 54%.
Then, if you intend well for the people of this country, you are just reducing by 1.6%. If it were even 10%, this morning I would have been nice and will not go attacking the finance minister. So if you have 50% jump and you are coming to give 1.6%, that's an insult to the people of this country.
That's an insult. Well, come on, there's something that's happening in your constituency that you wanted to touch on briefly.
Yes.
Just briefly, so we go.
I think briefly, I mean, the rains are setting in, and just 2 days ago, we had some storm around a village in Nyoko. Nyoko is around, not too long, far from Zol. Of course, there's the only daycare center there has actually been ripped off, and I understand that even one of the peoples there got hurt in the process, and that's quite appalling, quite bad. We are appealing. Just let's see how we can get assistance for the people of Nyoko in the Namtong constituency. Hopefully, if anybody who's watching and is touched should help us out to see how we can get some of these things done.
Absolutely.
These communities really need help, and we have to support them strongly.
All right. Thank you so much. Kamaldeen Abdullahi is the Deputy Director of Communications for the MPP. Lawyer Kwame Jantwa, he is the Chairman for the Oil and Gas Sector. Thank you for coming. And a member of the, I keep forgetting that, yes, and a member of the CPP. And Lawyer Abraham Amaliba is the head of the legal team for the NDC. Thank you, gentlemen.
But once again,
we have to go
fairly by Bella.
we have to, no, come on. We have to go and eat jollof. You didn't treat me fairly because you didn't want to answer my question. We're going to try some jollof later on. And of course, we'll talk more about the match between the Black Stars and the Super Eagles. Lawyer Jantwa says it's a battle. So yeah, we'll come back. Yeah, and the barrel is the Lord's. We'll be back.